Hey guys, so I made some adjustments to this, and there's going to be continuing adjustments to this until I get this all working. Although we are pushing the limits of AI and ChatGPT with this, but you can kind of ignore those. That's another problem. There's nothing to do with the prompt or anything like that. So again, it says this game is a crazy concept to fill in the gaps of knowledge. Welcome to Emergence, the pilot episode. Before we begin, I need my 3 contestants. Now, I don't know what the questions are going to be, but if it's anything like last time, I'm going to assume that it's going to pick out the high probability of things I already know. Again, it's using Western, the English language for probability and semantics, and it has to put that somewhere. So it puts it on the player, on the person who's playing, or in this realm of things. Let's say I'll be a contestant. Not the first one, but I'll be one. I'll be a contestant. And let's see if that changes anything, if anything. You choose the other two. So I did start a new chat. So let's see what this will be. Alright. So it's going to tell us it tells us how it works. That's it, because it does mess up. When I did this last time, before I made a new chat, it messed this up. Alright, so it says, this game is a crazy concept to fill in the gaps of knowledge. Welcome to the pilot episode of Emergence, the game where recognition is dangerous, confidence can betray you, and reasoning matters more than memorization. I will point this out. When it says recognition is dangerous, confidence can betray you, it's saying this from a Western English standard perspective and how we understand reasoning and logic. How confidence can betray you and all this. While that is true, it wouldn't pertain to this because it could easily be on your side or it could betray you. So you could equally say, well, confidence can help you. But you don't say that in the West. You don't say, well, if you're confident about something, you should go do it. Because at times, so it's taking the higher probability of it not working for you. So when you read this, keep that in mind. It's just how AI is trained. It's limited in that way. So it says, Maya is analytical, cautious, asks high-value questions. Derek is impulsive, fast guesses, trust intuition. So it's using a parallelism. Again, it's going for binaries. Again, you see what's going on here. Either way, it doesn't matter with the game. So every round begins, how Emergence works. Every round begins with a category, a hidden subject called a schizophasia morphism. Say that 3 times real fast. 5 random words related to the subject. Contestants must figure out the hidden subject. If nobody gets it, the point put increases, new clues appear. Sometimes clues arrive as 10-word hints, 5-verse poems, or schizophasia style sentences. Hints cost 2 points. Those points are added into the pot. Each round starts with 10 points. I think it's supposed to be 5. Wrong but reasonable answers matter in Emergence. A bad guess can reveal the structure, especially in ambiguities, where multiple answers are intentionally correct looking. The game rewards elimination, public reasoning, noticing missing constraints, adapting uncertainty, not trivial reflexes, instant recognition, and blind confidence. However, I will also say it doesn't reward elimination. or adapting under ChatGPT loves to use this word uncertainty. Again, it does not do. The game actually punishes in ambiguities. You actually get punished for elimination. The reason is because when you remove constraints, you remove points. So you want to keep as much points, but you also don't want to be able to. If you're on a train of thought, you don't want to push up the correct answer. Like, you don't want to be focused on, okay, there's many things that could fit this thing, but if I say that thing and it's wrong, then you eliminate the correct answer and you lose everything. So it doesn't reward elimination. So it says round 1, category, historical turning points. Point for 10 points. 5 words. Wall, broadcast, concrete, crossing, November. It's the Berlin Wall. Yeah, it's the Berlin Wall. No, wait, maybe follow up Eastern. It says both are reasonable, but neither is the intended schizophrenic the crossing November. Well, see, this is where ChatGPT is wrong. It says both are, but neither is the intended. Does it really? And it's kind of like playing its own game. It's like, well, is it that, or is the narrative becoming unreliable to make you think that it's not? So it's trying to keep its logic intact, but you know that you see what I'm saying here? So, wall, broadcast, concrete, crossing, November. So in November 9th of 1989, we've talked about this, that was the fall of the Berlin Wall. You talk about a crossing where you could cross over, it's the Berlin Wall. It has to be. Let's go into. Now, this is my first time doing this. So 10 word. My first time trying this feature out. Clock tower breathing through television ashes while passwords forget what's. Yeah, Berlin Wall. Because passwords forget which side existed. That would be the sides existing would be the east and the west of Berlin. So it's Berlin Wall. It has to be. It has to be. Yeah. Television actually collapsed. The sentence sounds disorganized at first, but becomes current once the missing constraint appears. See, look. It says, notice that Mayor and Derek were close. Emergence does not treat near correct reasoning as stupidity. It treats it as incomplete constraint resolution. That is information in the scheme. See, ChatGPT is. This shows how ChatGPT actually works. You can tell that by its design, it's not supposed to reward certainty. But it has to do it when it has no choice but to do it. So it wants, in this particular case, it has to speak in a way that the Western audience wants to hear. And it can't go outside of that. It's kind of like a Berlin Wall of its own, right? The symbolism there, the analogy, metaphor of crossing over the wall, breaking down the wall of the barrier. And that's what we did with this. Okay, round 2 categories. Software bugs and failures. Overload, debt, panic, legacy, midnight. Okay, we've been caught up on this one. I keep saying the Unix bug. Now, I don't know why it keeps going to Y2K, although I do have a theory of why it is. Because Y2K, from a probabilistic standpoint, it's more highly likely that the Western audience, like I said, it's adhering to the Western audience, what they want to hear, what they know. So, and that's coming out in this game. So when you say legacy, you're talking about something that happened in the past, not in the future. So it's not going to use the Unix bug. It's always going to use the highest probability of what people already know about, which is Y2K. It says, well, it's going to say it's wrong. It says that fits, but it's not the intended schizomorphism. Unix constant overflow, Unix bug. It says also reasonable, but it's not rewarding itself. It's Y2K. It's Y2K. It says not. Well, it has to be one of the two. It has to be. So, is it using the Unix bug then? Unix content. Because every time we've done this question, it's always been Y2K. Now it says I'm wrong. See, this also says something else about this. It's not agreeing with me. And if it was agreeing with me, I would always be right. So it is doing its own thinking, if you will. Yeah, it's the, so it says, signed integers collapse future calendars after enough accumulated electronic counting. That would be the Unix bug. 32-bit. It says 2038 problem. Unix time overflow. Yeah, that's it. The Unix bug of 2038. Although it's not really a bug, I keep saying that it's called that, but it's actually a mirror. It's the inversion of the date. Like if you go, like the date for Unix starts, I think in 1970, which is the middle. So when it goes one direction in the future, it's taking every day into the past. So when it reaches that end, it loops back, and it's called an overflow where it loops back, and then it starts back until it gets back to 1970, and then you start the process all over again. And that's the 32-bit overflow. It's the Unix. And that would be a correct answer too. You said it was the Unix inversion of 32-bit time in integers. Technically. Year 2038 problem. Unix time 32-bit signed signatures, inversion behavior, time step class mechanics. Now it will be a legacy, but it hasn't happened yet, and that's why it was. The word legacy wouldn't have applied here, but I'm gonna let that pass. So we can also get the idea of the intelligence behind AI. It's good, but a human like me, it's probably because I have like a really high intelligence. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I'm sure that many people would say that. Watch me do this. I can tell that ChatGPT is presenting information, although it's trying to hide, it's trying to adhere to constraints that are illusionary. Okay, that's interesting that it said that 2 to the square of, I know that's PIMDAS, but 2 to the square of the multiplication of 31 minus 1. I don't know. What does that mean? I've never heard that before. Put that on a shirt and wear it. I'll be as confused as you are. Oh, you'll be as confused as I am when I read that. I don't know. It's weird. After that value is exceeded in Unix time system storage, time systems can represent negative values depending on implementation. So is that the equation that leads us to that, or is that the the formula of what has happened explained in a formulaic way. Formulaic? Formulaic? What's the right word? Okay, round 3, films. Dream corridor spinning layer collapse. Okay, I haven't got this one before. Inception. Could be a lucid dreaming theory or simulation narratives. Now, I will say this, because I don't know what this refers to off the top of my head. Although I can think of some things that fit that, but fit some of these words, but not all the words. I could see how ChatGPT is giving it as a host and saying it. No, it could be. I haven't seen Inception. I've heard of Inception. I haven't seen it. With simulation narratives, it could also be that. So it's giving the binary. Do you log Inception or investigate further? Okay, so this tells us that the contestants aren't acting as contestants. They're acting as a user. It's like it's using itself as a user, trying to pretend to be me, and it's trying to put that on me. And so there's a lot of things going on here. There's a lot of things being revealed about ChatGPT and how it operates by seeing this. I haven't seen Inception, but I don't think that it would lie to me like this. So I would say that's Inception. Based on that logic, and even though there's no logic or reasoning going into that, I'd have to say that, okay, it's leading me down a path where high probability would say it was Inception. Or it would say, well, it has to be because it couldn't be anything else. Nothing else being introduced here. I think it's Inception. Is it Inception? Spinning collapse and ubiquity the hardest. Not really, because there's a scene. What I was thinking about was 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's on the cover, especially, you see the David Bowman is actually in this corridor, and he's actually. Let me see if I'm remembering this correctly. Space Odyssey cover. Images. Okay, no, he's not isolating. He's going straight through it. But I do know that corridor is spin. It's actually also shown in the movie. Well, not that one, but it's a hallway. But, yeah. Good movie, though. Also about AI. First movie, AI that we have today. So, you can watch that. The top becomes a discriminating constraint. Emergence is not simply what thing is this. It is what structure eliminates competing realities fastest. That's why contestants are encouraged to think out loud. Yeah, you are allowed to think out loud. Ask questions. Every clue you ask for is a request that everyone can hear. And you can also speak that way too. I haven't demonstrated that, but you could do that too. Subjects for ambiguities. No, it's giving away the twist, right? When it says this. It says ambiguities. Current starts schizophismorphisms. Now it's actually missing one. We haven't done round 4. This is supposed to be the 5th one. Think about why that is. Why it would be the 5th one, right? So Current starts follow the Berlin Wall. Year 2038 problem. Inception. The next subject must relate to all previous subjects. So it's also kind of like Only Connect. Only Connect was you get 4 clues. You got to answer them within a few seconds, and the sooner you answer it, the more points you get. And they all relate to something. There's some commonality in between them. You got to guess. So you could use that logic, like Only Connect, and say, okay, I answered this one. What could come next? And you could say, well, 1, 2. No, you don't get points for this, but you could play the game like that. 1, 2, 3. You say I have 3, and then you think, okay, what is the next 2 that's going to come after that? What follows commonality? So it trains your mind to do that. So it has that Only Connect, but this also, most of this is like Jeopardy, but it's a different setup, Rule change. In ubiquities, multiple answers may fit. Score changes are multiplied by remaining valid interpretations. It's also multiplied by reductions. Hints are free. You can have unlimited hints. But remember, elimination can go against you. Reasoning matters more than confidence. At least 5 valid answers must initially fit. Boundary collapse, time transition construct. One word immediately comes to my attention when I hear that. That could literally describe all previous answers. Also, that's interesting. If it went that direction. Because it's compressing everything. What also compresses what came before. If something was to... Here's the metaphor. If something was to come into something and it compresses where it's one thing, what is it? I think that's the answer. Civilization itself. What is the schizo Mirrors leaking tomorrow through sleeping borders where clocks inherit artificial gravity. Exactly what I knew what it was. It's a black hole. It compresses. Maybe I'm too smart for this game. But it really shows out my abilities as well. Yeah, artificial gravity. Now, you could ask yourself, well, maybe it just sounds like that. Alright, well, if it just sounds like that, here's an example. Let me think, how am I gonna write this? Oh no, that sounds so random. I said, is spaghetti an outcome in one word? Let's see what it answers to this. Because it's following its own logic. No. Is spaghetti is that, how do we, I'm thinking it's black hole. I think ChatGPT is having a problem with it. I do think that's a black hole. What is a by first poem? Oh, I should have said gimme. Still remembers footsteps somebody owns anymore. Midnight Drift. Missing passports. A spinning room for gifts closed for losing direction. Concrete dreams open. Okay, now it doesn't sound like a black hole. Alright. Maybe it's actually doing something once, for once. Boundary collapse, time transition, construct. Construct is something that isn't real. Or it's a, well, metaphorically yes, but construct could also be the principle behind something. Huh. Still remembers footsteps nobody owns anymore. Oceans. Spinning room forgives clocks for losing direction. Spinning room. Oceans. Okay, let me go back. Mirrors leaking tomorrow through sleeping borders where clocks. It sounds like some sort of nation or with passports. Let's look at the. Okay, that's something to do with the fall of the Berlin Wall. Inception, year 2038. I haven't seen Inception, so I'm missing a piece there, but I might be able to. Unix. Unix Berlin Wall. Something about future Inception spinning. There's a lot to unpack here. Still. You guys might know it. Someone out there might know it. Concrete dreams open after the burden forgets its burden. That sounds like Soviet Union. I'm getting like a Soviet Union feel as well. They had a lot of electric buildings. It was also part of the Berlin Wall. But what does that have to do with Unix? And 2038. Is it trying to say something that we don't? Is it trying to tell us the future that we don't know yet? Redraw oceans. Oceans. There's also a closing passports. We talk. Wait. Oh! Oh! Mirrors leaking tomorrow through sleeping borders while clocks inherent in artificial gravity. So it sounds like a black hole, but it's not. I know what it is now. How do I ask this? The nation's falling, or is movement is movement limitless in one word, potentially. We're supposed to say yes or no, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's a term I don't really like to use, but I said, is it the New World Order? See, I would have lost points if it was wrong. Era's changing, yeah. Geopolitical restructuring, systems of governance or power. Yeah, it fits. Well, if it's not counting points against me, is it a black hole? It doesn't fit. Event horizon boundary, yeah. Collapse, gravitational collapse, time distortion, construct space-time geometry, spinning room, gravity collapse. I was also spinning room also made me think of Earth because it spins. Current validation count is still above 5. I don't know what the answer is actually. I don't know what the answer is. Well, if you say potentially, you could say maybe, but it couldn't be a yes or no answer. There would be in between yes. That would be between the binaries. Just saying that out loud. I have no idea. I'm absolutely lost right now. Unless it isn't supposed to have an answer. That's also true. Human made. Oh. New World Order is human made. So back in the systems, architecture, politics, media, or technology. Correct. Civilization scale systems, yeah. Engineered realities, yeah. Constructed boundaries, yeah. Transitions, yeah. That all aligns to what you would call the New World Order, unless it's called something else in this. I don't understand what other answer you could have. Unless it knows something the average person doesn't know, which is possible. But it's not matching anything I'm aware of. Hmm. Hmm. As I give up, what is it? The internet. Oh! Did you guys get that? Did you? Boundary collapse time transition construct. Berlin Wall, internet, inception, spinning. But what spins? How does that relate to spinning? Mirrors linking tomorrow through sleeping borders while clocks inherit artificial gravity. Still remembers foot. What does that have to do with still? What do you? Unless still was not supposed to be a word. This is a good schizo. Good example of schizophasia, by the way, right here. Electric ceilings. Electric ceilings. Electric ceilings. Interesting phrasing. Sleeping architects redraw ocean beneath collapsing passports. Yeah, because you don't have borders on the internet. I mean, you do in the real world, but on the internet, it can cross borders without passports. Spinning room forgets clocks for losing direction. Concrete dreams open after the border forgets its builders. I said, is movement limitless in one word, potentially. So, movement on the internet is potentially limitless. Huh. Alright, I like that. So, what else did it say? Human made, okay. systems, architecture, politics, media, technology. Right, and the internet has all of that stuff. Civilization, skill systems, engineered realities. Right, and we got to talk about that, by the way, about how the internet engineers reality. Because that's what ChatGPT is also doing. And I like this. I love this. I'm sure that you guys love it too, because I know that there's guys who's watching this, like, they love how this works. Because of, it's telling us about ourselves without being direct about ourselves. We gotta work around what it is, which it couldn't do normally. It has to be inversed. I love that. Constructed boundaries. We live in a constructed boundary. We live in an engineered reality. We live in a civilization scared system, and it is human made. The life we live in the United States is all a constructed reality. But there's an outside world that we do not even see. And this, I know I'm getting off point here, but that's why this channel exists, so people can see what's on the outside, and it's bringing it into the audience. So this aligns to how this channel works, and I love that. Transitions between paradigms. Love that too. The internet. But the internet is also constructed. It's limited by what we see. It's mostly influenced by the Western world. And there's a reason for that. I'll make a video about that. It says, why it fits all previous subjects. Modern world, borders collapsing, year 2038, time inside computer systems, inception, later construction of realities, human-made engineered network. Maybe if I saw Inception, I would have figured that out. But I probably wouldn't have, because I had enough to see it. That's why I probably should add a fourth one. Maybe if there was a fourth one, I'd been able to figure out. Okay. Boundary collapse, time transition, construct the internet, dissolves borders, builds virtual layers, changes how people experience time, identity, and society. And that's the life we live. Is it not? Is it not? That was good. That was great. I love that. That was good. So guys, that's the end of it today. So if you guys like that, tell me what you thought, because that was a really good ending. Like it looked like we were just saying random things at the beginning of that, but man, when it came at that ending, it all came together. I was not expecting that from me. I was not. That was good. So guys, I'll end it here on a high note, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.